Actually, that's what we'll do. If Mike Greenberg gets the job as the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, he and I should do a job switch one day. One day he should come do the shows, and I should go be the general manager of the Carolina Panthers. Now, we have to talk David Tepper into this after I've made jokes about him throwing drinks on people. But does he strike you as a guy who has a sense of humor? Maybe.
Honestly, if David Tepper calls you, my guess would be that he heard you excoriate him earlier in the week.
Right.
And he was probably calling to object to that.
Perhaps. Or maybe he'll respect it.
Offer you a job.
Why not? I have nothing personal against the man. I thought what he did was terrible, but I don't think he should be fired.
And honestly, if you're taking that job, based on his track record, it's a short-term commitment for you.
He can't be fired. That's right.
One day
is longer than most people last.
It's basically an internship.
What do you think of this idea, guys?
I think you'll be there maybe less time than Jeff Saturday was the Colts head coach, but I think it would be. What would you do in your one day as Panthers GM? That's what I want to know.
It's a great question. It's like, what would you do if you had the Stanley Cup for a day?
Right.
Well, I would make a trade.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I would have to. No, I would call up Joe Douglas. Who could I trade the Jets?
This is collusion.
Who do they have I want?
Adam Thielen?
Yeah, we could use Adam Thielen.
Yeah, get a nice possession receiver for Rodgers.
Yeah.
Would you take Bryce Young?
Well, that's what I'd do. I'd trade him Bryce Young. I'd trade him for Bryce Young for a player to be named
For Zach
later.
Wilson? Trade Bryce Young for Zach Wilson?
I would trade him for Zach Wilson. That's so great.
Yeah, that's what
I would do. I'd call Joe Douglas and say, yeah, hey, Joe, it's Mike Greenberg, the general manager of the Carolina Panthers. How about Bryce for Zach straight up?
Who says no?
Who says no?
Wait, you're not the GM of both teams.
So anyway, I would like to suggest we do that. Jim and I just sort of got to talking. And the conversation had nothing to do with him leaving Michigan, literally nothing. It had nothing to do with him being interested in the NFL, so I do not want to mischaracterize it in any way. We just got to talking about how much great young quarterback talent there is in the NFL. Mahomes and Lamar and Burrow and whoever else came up, Allen. And I was struck at the time. Jim went on and on and on about Herbert. That's the guy he loves. He thinks Herbert is phenomenal. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm not sure if he said he thinks Herbert is better than Mahomes, but he definitively talked at length about how great he thinks Herbert is. He's got all the tools, this, that, and the other. Maybe he coached against him in college for whatever. I don't know, one way or the other. That's who he talked about. On and on and on and on. So that's always stuck in my mind, that if he had the opportunity to coach in the NFL, that would be the guy he'd like to coach. And it's there. The job is open, and he may be going to the NFL. So there's no way for me not to put those two things together.
I'm glad you went there because the entire list of quarterbacks in NFL history to throw more touchdowns through 4 seasons than Justin Herbert is Dan Marino. It's the entirety of the list. He's precocious. He's prolific. We already know this. Exceedingly talented. So I did the thought exercise. Which coach has ever come into a situation with a quarterback situation that attractive? Justin Herbert entering year 5 is about as attractive a commodity as any coach could enter. The 2 that I wrote down, and tell me if you think I'm forgetting some because this is certainly not comprehensive. I wrote down the Steelers when they hired Mike Tomlin in 2007 as Ben Roethlisberger was entering year 4. He was entrenched at that point and established. And the Packers hiring Mike McCarthy in 2006. He inherited Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers after year 1.
What I'm about to say is going to make many people accuse me of just kissing up to him because he is the Jets quarterback. But I actually understand what he means, and I think he's right. And I do not think that the Kimmel thing, the appearances on McAfee, or the anti-vax thing have anything to do with what he's talking about. I'm not supporting them. I'm not endorsing them tacitly or otherwise. That's not what I'm doing. He's an adult. He's going to say the things that he says, and he's going to have to deal with the consequences of them, however that works out. But what I'm saying is he's talking about football things, and I don't think he thinks those have anything to do with football, and frankly, I don't think they have anything to do with what's happening with the Jets either. The Jets have a million other problems. The Jets have leaks like crazy. Part of it is that they operate in the most competitive, busy, and, sort of feeding frenzy-esque media market in the country. Things come out of that building all the time that shouldn't. People's feelings about Zach Wilson, this, that, and the other, all kinds of stuff emanates from that building. that is a detriment to winning. And people there are also extremely concerned about what people in the media are saying and otherwise. And I think that's what Aaron is talking about. So I want to be clear. I'm not blindly defending or supporting Aaron Rodgers. He's not my friend. I have no need or desire to do that. I'm in no way supporting, defending, or co-signing any of the other things that he has said. Those are his things to say. Those are his beliefs. They aren't mine. But I don't think they have anything to do with what's going on with the Jets. And when he comes back next year, when the Jets come back next year, I don't think his continued appearances on McAfee, which I assume he'll continue to make, I don't know that one way or the other, or any of the rest of it, will have anything to do with how successful they will be. And the things that he does, that he is talking about, needing to get out of the building, the immaturity, the backstabbing, all that nonsense that goes on in that building, and it's not the only one, that is the stuff that keeps teams from being successful. So I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. They're going to suggest that I'm only saying this because I'm, whatever you want to call me, a sycophant. Call me whatever you want. I'm telling you what I honestly believe. That I think those are two separate things, certainly in his mind, and I understand it. And while I feel the need to repeat it, I am not supporting the things he said. I do not believe that those are the BS that are going to cost the Jets an opportunity to win. They hadn't won an outright national championship since the 40s. Bo Schembechler, who they talk about like he was Bear Bryant, never won the national championship, didn't even share one. So this idea that he was there to resurrect, he was there to erect something that had not previously been. They shared a national title in '97. When Harbaugh got to Ann Arbor, they were a middle-of-the-pack Big Ten program. They had lost 10 of 11 games to Ohio State. The only game they'd won was in that interim period there where Tressel got thrown out and Urban was coming in and Luke Fickell was the coach. In the meantime, the two coaches before him, Brady Hoke and Rich Rodriguez, were 23 and 32 in the Big Ten. They were significantly under 500 in the Big Ten. People wanted to make it about Ohio State. But as we said at the time, a hammer and a nail have a relationship, not a rivalry. Michigan wasn't better than Penn State. Michigan wasn't better than Wisconsin. Michigan wasn't better than Iowa. Michigan was not on the same level as Ohio State or Alabama or some of the other top programs in college football and had not been for a long time. So when we talk about what Jim accomplished here, let's not talk about it like what Saban did at Alabama. Alabama has a history, a recent history of being great before Saban got there. It had fallen apart for like 2 years. They won the national championship in what year was it? What year did they win the championship with Gene Stallings?
Let me pull that up.
And all of that. Regardless, the point is
92 was the year.
92. The point I'm trying to make is this. Jim Harbaugh came back home to try and make Michigan into something that everyone there believes it should be, but candidly, almost no one had lived to see it be. And he did it. What I'm trying to say, and perhaps inartfully, is that what Jim Harbaugh actually accomplished in his tenure at Michigan, if indeed it is over, is greater than most people are giving him credit for.